Oscar Grant could have been any one of our sons, nephews, grandsons.
As supporters of Oscar Grant stood in the rain, cargo ships coming into the Bay Area ports were not able to dock.
You can bet your bottom dollar that Walmart is paying attention today. Home Depot, Honda, all of those companies want their cargo moved today, and they cannot move because we're here for Oscar Grant.
Helicopters circled and squads of police in riot gear lined the streets and surrounded the rally where hundreds of Oscar Grant supporters gathered.
Stay organized, stay disciplined, and organize.
Mike Walker is a spoken word artist known as Ghetto Prophet.
Measurably sentence meant to me today that this is still Jim Crow era. No matter how many years it's been since the supposed Emancipation Proclamation, the minorities in this country are still not held equal or free. And that's really what it means.
What's it like to be a black man living in this community?
Tiring and inspiring at the same time.
Give me more.
There's the dynamic of living in a city that's overpopulated by officers who do not live in this city, who hold negative views of the people of this community. And so therefore we spend most of our days fighting against our own character defamation. We try to, I'm a father, I work, but yet I still get arrested anytime the police want to arrest me, and they'll find a way to do it, find a way to have you shipped off somewhere. You look at it out here now, we've been telling people all day we want a peaceful rally, yet we still got over 500 cops sitting at the corner watching us, and so it just really lets me know, like, I imagine sometimes living in Oakland to be a small version of Beirut. Like, this is a police state.
At 6 p.m., as the organizing permit expired, the crowd saluted the growing police force with their middle fingers and took a pledge.
I swear to leave this rally, go back into my community, get educated, get organized, get empowered, and fight back. I will fight back.
Corbin Lee is a resident of the neighborhood who was at the Oscar Grant rally.
Citizens should have a right to speak their mind about the hypocrisy and racism that pervades our society. Johannes Meserly gets less of a sentencing than Michael Vick does. And Meserly murdered somebody, and Michael Vick was into dogfighting.
Melvin Noble is a retired social worker from Contra Costa County who has lived in Oakland for 30 years. Noble says Meserly got away with murder.
In this day and time with African Americans, if we've got a black president and a black attorney general, if we can't get justice in this country now, then we never will.
Noble called the police presence in his neighborhood overkill.
The Oakland Police Department, they have a history of being unsympathetic to African Americans. Even though we have an African American chief, they call themselves trying to be restrained, and maybe they are. But even still, they don't have to show this kind of mass force, especially right now when you've got maybe 100 police, maybe 50, 100 people around. This is ridiculous.
Black life is precious! Black life is precious!
Hundreds of people, including multiple families with young children, gathered at Oscar Grant Plaza in downtown Oakland, California, to fight for justice on behalf of Trayvon Martin, the 17-year-old from Florida who was shot dead by George Zimmerman. Bela Thomas, his partner, and their 3 children were among them.
I'm out here because what happened with Trayvon was an atrocity, and the fact that Zimmerman got off free was an injustice that we can't stand for, and that we need to show the people in power and the people in general that the value of black life needs to be held at a higher standard than it is now.
I just had somebody ask me again, like they do after every time they break some windows in here, what do I think about the vandalism? Guess what? I'm not thinking about the vandalism!
During the rally, one of the organizers addressed the vandalism that's resulted in broken windows and graffiti on many Oakland shops since George Zimmerman's acquittal.
I'm thinking about dead black babies, and until you stop killing my babies, you'll ask me about no goddamn windows!
She then tried to set the tone for a peaceful, violence-free march.
You will respect that there are women and children and elderly people here, and if you want to go get at them fools, take that mess away from the women and children and elderly people.
The crowd walked down Oakland's Broadway Street and chanted,
Black is not a crime. Trayvon didn't have to die. Young and black is not a crime.
Demonstrators assembled in front of the Oakland Police Department, where they were initially greeted by about 24 police officers who stood on guard, keeping the protesters on the street and off the sidewalk in front of the station.
We're marching for Trayvon Martin to show our respect to him and standing up for him where the courts fell short and didn't send the guy to jail for murdering a teenage boy.
What do we want? Justice. When do we want it now?
4-year-old June chanted and led about 36 demonstrators, mostly parents and children, to Oakland's Federal Building, where several hundred people were waiting to make a statement about the Trayvon Martin case. Stara Steffens is the mother of the young chant leader, June.
I think it's really important for children to learn about protest and to understand that when something is wrong, you stand up and you try to make a difference.
Nicole Pitts from Brentwood was at the rally along with her children, who each carried signs saying, "Am I next?"
Let's go out and join with other people who feel the same way that we feel, that this was unjust and this is unfair and it's not right, and let's together have our voices be heard.
Pitt's 6-year-old son Nathan told me why he was at the rally.
Because I want to support Trayvon Martin.
And her 11-year-old son talked about how he felt about Trayvon Martin's case.
I felt really bad because he was a normal guy, didn't do anything, and he was unarmed.
And you're carrying a sign that says, "Am I next?" What does that sign mean?
That sign means probably like I'm next up to get shot.
And we hope not, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And what do you hope we accomplish by being here today?
To let the judges do a retake on the trial.
During the open mic, some of Oakland's youth spoke out.
I believe that it doesn't really matter what race you are, how you look, how your hair is. You just need to be yourself, but still, you need to set out a good example for your people and for your family, so then you can still walk out in the street and feel like you're safe and not be afraid if that is the day you get shot. So pretty much you just live your life to the fullest and never give up on what your dreams are, and even you never know if you may not get to reach your dreams tomorrow or the next day. You better try to do something to get closer to that dream. And we shall overcome.
Rallies like the one in Oakland were scheduled to take place in front of federal buildings across the United States in more than 100 cities, demanding that there be a civil rights investigation for George Zimmerman's case.
Free, free, Marissa! Free, Marissa! Free, free, Marissa! Marissa Alexander was arrested in 2010, and her trial took about 2 years and concluded in May of 2012. And that was when she was sentenced. So she's been serving her 20-year sentence for a year now. But this case, the hypocrisy of this case, really started to make the news when Zimmerman was acquitted.
Florida's Stand Your Ground statute doesn't apply to domestic violence situations unless there's a court order against the abuser. After Alexander refused a plea bargain, the case went to a jury last year. A guilty verdict was returned in less than 15 minutes, and the judge sentenced her to 20 years. The prosecutor was State Attorney Angela Corey, who also presided over the Zimmerman case. Alexander, a black 31-year-old, is the mother of 3 children. This Oakland resident came to the Free Marissa March along with her 11-year-old nephew to make a statement about what she called a bad law.
The law is stand your ground, and for her, there was no justice, and for Trayvon Martin, there was no justice. Also, it's bad law, and we need to get rid of it. So that's why I'm marching today.
And are you a mother yourself?
Yes, I am. I have a 26-year-old African-American son who resides in Florida, and I'm here with my 11-year-old nephew, and black males are at risk. We need to judge people by the content of their character, not the color of their skin.
They send parents away from their babies to prison. They send sons and daughters to prison here. And to that we say, that really sucks.
George Zimmerman's acquittal has helped to shine a light on this 2-year-old case and inequalities within the criminal justice system. Activists say they'll continue to push for Alexander's release from prison and for broader reforms. Sharon Sabota, Free Speech Radio News, Oakland, California.
Power to the people! Power to the people!